Hello, my lovelies. I'm Jenny O, the author with no last name, and this is Jenny O Talks, part of the channel where I talk about things in the creative community. And so, this is video 3 in a series about authors and reviewers. In today's video, we are going to talk about what makes a good review. Now, I have previously talked about what in the world is going on between authors and reviewers, and then I have also talked about what are the author's responsibilities towards reviews. So let's talk about, as reviewers, what makes a good review. Now, I've mentioned before in this series, but little known fact about this channel is I started this channel to do reviews of independent science fiction and fantasy books. I am not doing reviews of independent science fiction and fantasy books right now because A, people aren't sending me their books to review, and B, doing that myself, trying to wade through the thousands and thousands, I do mean thousands of books on Amazon without some sort of curation method is overwhelming. I could read 20 books, and even if I'm just looking for 4 or 5-star books and I'm only reading the first 5 chapters, it could take me 20 hours to find a book I can even get through. So it's just was way too much time when I had a lot of other stuff on my plate, and I ended up like just putting it on the back burner. So if you do send me a book, I will do my best to read it, and I will get in contact with you if it's like a 3-star review, and I will, or less, and I will say, this is a 3-star review. Do you still want me to do a video on it or not? Or, you know, if it's less than a 3-star review, I will tell you I do not feel comfortable making a video on it. But if it's a 4 or 5-star review, I'll just review it, and, you know, everybody's a happy camper. But I had to step away from it. It was like, oh, wow, this is what being an agent feels like, I guess. So, when I started my channel, I was like, I need to set up some kind of guidelines for myself to make the best review I can. Now, I am an author, so I am a peer reviewer. So I know author jargon, you know. You can't see the one underneath this one has a whole bunch of author writing advice books and stuff like that in it. And so I know the terminology. So my reviews might read very editorial. But I've said, how can I do this without being an editor, you know, an editorial review? So, I always say, I'm an author, so I'm writing a review from a customer's perspective, but I'm going to be using author terms. Sorry. But I always ask the question, did I like this book and why? Because I am a customer. I am reading this book. And the biggest part of a review for me is the book is a product. My book is a product. Did I like my book? I love my book. But why did I love my book? Why do I love my book? It has so much fun character drama in it, and they're silly, and there's an explosion, and a slow burn romance, and found family. That's why I like my book. It's Anne Bishop meets Jim Butcher. So I had to think to myself, you know, when I'm writing this review, what made me keep turning pages in this book? Now, when you're online and you're reading reviews, especially on Amazon, 9 times out of 10, I can tell what review is a paid review. because 75 or more % of the review is a summary of the book, which on Amazon you don't need to do. The summary is right there at the top of the page. And the only reason on Amazon to summarize the book is if the summary at the top of the page is not at all accurate. And I found that. As an indie reviewer, I have found that. I have found lots of books that their summary is not at all accurate to what the book actually is. So, if it's a paid review and it has a huge amount of summary and then just this little paragraph about the book, you know, maybe what they, you know, very vague, oh, it has great characters and thrilling plot, whatever, that's probably a paid review. So, so when I was doing that, I was like, I'll probably read the summary from Amazon, but if that summary is not accurate, I'm going to re-summarize it myself because I want customers to have an accurate summary. But most of the times, I don't bother summarizing the book. I go straight into, what do I like about this book? What hooked me into this book and kept me reading, outside the fact that I was given this book to review. And another thing I really want to think about when I'm reviewing a book is, who was the book written for? What's the audience? And did this person hit their genre, their audience? What type of book are they trying to write, and did they actually manage to write it? Did they hit their views, their goals? And so, you know, me, I'm writing a cozy werewolf drama like Sons of Anarchy TV show, and you know, do I hit it? I hope so. Nobody tells me. You gotta go tell me if I hit my Sons of Anarchy cozy werewolf found family drama with a little bit of action and yeah. Will you two just kiss already? that's this book. And so I had to sit there and, you know, if it's an indie author and I have a personal relationship with that author, I can go and ask them, what type of book were you trying to write? Who is this? What author? What's your comps here? And on a lot of indie books, because marketing is such a beast at the moment, you'll get the comps. So they'll tell you the comps, so you can read the book and be like, is it really Harry Potter meets Sanderson? Why would you do I don't know. But is it really the two things that they're saying it is? It is. And you can talk about that and whether or not you liked that. But did they meet their goals as an author, and did they do it well? Now, because again, I'm an author and I can be like, I'm also a development editor. To me, a lot of times I'm going to be talking about, did these characters feel like fully fleshed out, juicy characters? Were they fun? Did they have goals? Did they have dreams? Was there a conflict? What was the conflict? Did we get to the conflict promptly? How was the world building? Was the world building good? Was that three-dimensional, or, you know, did they overthink it or did they underthink it? You know, Harry Potter, underthought. Dune, medium thought. Trying to think of someone I've got that's overthought. George R. R. Martin is underthought. Overthought. Somebody who overthought. Well, probably Sanderson is somebody who overthinks. But I don't have any Sanderson on my shelves. You're like, Jenny, how dare you? So, so that's me as personally as an author. I'm using those terms. But you need to think about, as a reviewer, what hooked you into this book? What would make about this book would make you rave to your friends? Or conversely, if it's you didn't like the book, what about it didn't meet the premise? It didn't meet your genre. It didn't meet what the author was trying to do. What about this book makes you rant and rave? Like, I don't think this was done well, whatever. There has to be some sort of, in a good review, a review that's helpful to customers, there has to be some sort of coherent reason why you're saying, I liked this book, or this is a bad book. Now, because when you say something like, this is a bad book, it could mean anything. It could mean I'm trying, it could mean I don't like gay people. It could mean this author is trying to normalize ebophilia. That's teenagers and adults. Romance. This, or maybe you don't like May December romance, or maybe there was, maybe you don't like a romance where it's somebody who's not related, but it's like a father figure. Maybe you don't like that, and it's a bad book, or or it could be a bad book because, wow, it took 300 pages to get to the plot. And when we got to the plot, it was convenient and contrived. And so, or I didn't like this book because instead of showing me how the theme works in the world, they're instead preaching at me and doing a lot of info dumping, and they're doing a lot of philosophical talking when they could be out there actually doing something. Okay. And a lot of that type of stuff, a lot of that exposition, info dumping stuff, that's for a very niche audience, and a lot of your audience is just gonna throw it away, and they're gonna think, you need an editor, sweetie. Why did this get published? I don't know, but like, so that's something like a good review is going to give like a good I don't want to say cohesive, but a good coherent reason for why you liked the book or you didn't like the book, whether it's the characters, the setting, the plot, the world building, the conflict, was the pacing good, and or something that you ranting and raving about is, exactly those things. And, okay, what is not helpful in a review is saying, this book is riddled with grammar errors. Or, coming into this book, the review says, this is a young adult book and I don't like young adult books. Then why are you reading this book? It's clearly marketed young adult. It's in the young adult section. That's not helpful. Product reviews about packaging. I got this book and it was damaged. So you're bringing the book rating down because you got a damaged book, which is not the author's fault? I mean, I get it. It's a product and you want a product. Well, you need to contact Amazon, not give a review to the author who had no control because, look, this is print on demand. Okay? I just upload a PDF into a system. Amazon has the printers. They do the book cover, they do the binding. The only thing I'm in charge of is the art, the format, and the content. Okay? I am not in charge of printing. I'm not in charge of shipping. I have no control. That is completely out of my control. So for a reviewer to come into like an Amazon or to a Goodreads or I don't know, if you get there and you're reading the reviews and you're like, oh, my book came and it's damaged, and you're leaving a 1-star review because you got a book that was damaged, it's useless. That's an awful review. Like, another good thing to keep in mind when you are writing a review is that, sorry, is that a review is your opinion. Okay? So, a lot of people on the internet are very, very pedantic. And if you don't frame your review as an opinion, like, It is my opinion that somebody needed to go through this book with a red pen and get rid of about 200 pages of it. I'm not going to say which book it is because that's multiple books at this point. My opinion. And if you just say that like it's a statement of fact, people are gonna, kind of come after you for it. Like, you gotta just, it's an opinion. Frame it as an opinion. In my reading experience, in my opinion, things that I enjoy, la la la. That's what a review is for. Your opinion on a product. And whether or not your opinion is valid, or factual, or carries any weight, is going to depend on the people who read it and how they respond to your opinion, and about whether or not the author succeeded in what they were trying to do. So don't try to tell the author what they should do. Don't try to tell the author, that they need to go back and rewrite the entire book, or things you want to see coming up. Those aren't useful either. I'm going to tell you right now, if you throw ideas out at me, or you tell me what I should and shouldn't do with my books, I'm just going to laugh at you as an author. No, sorry, you're not my editor. You're a complete stranger on the internet, and your opinion means exactly squat. Because, an author has something that they're trying to do, okay? Now, as an author-to-author thing, or as an editor, if you are in any way worried about your book, and, you're like, oh, Jenny's a tough reviewer. I'll try not to be tough, I try to be fair. I don't know if she's going to like my book or not. For the love of God, send me an ARC. I will, take the first 10, 20 pages, and I will give you an edit for free. Okay? It's right there on my website. And if you like my edit, and if you're really worried, you're like, you want a 5-star review from me, or a 5-cookie review, I'm here. I'm available. I'm an editor. Well, send me your book and I'll help you. Just things like that. Now, most reviewers out on the internet are not editors, okay? So, I try very, very hard not to make my reviews editorial. So, just remember, your review is an opinion about why you liked or didn't like the book with a supporting argument. You're writing a short, persuasive essay, okay? Here is why I liked the book or didn't like the book, in my opinion, and why. And, what hooked you into this book? What kept you turning pages? Did you know the ending before you had? Did you see the twist coming? Were they good at foreshadowing? Were they awful at foreshadowing? Oh, curse your son, but inevitable betrayal. Why are you reading the book? Why did you finish the book? What were your feelings at the end of the book? Were you satisfied? Were you unsatisfied? Did it make you angry? Did it make you think? Did it make you uncomfortable? That makes a good review. Don't come in and be like, oh, this is, the book was damaged, or it wasn't what I was expecting. It's a young adult or genre book, and I don't like young adult or genre books. Those are useless reviews. Something very vague, like it's a bad book, is not very helpful either. Pointing out spelling and grammar mistakes, wrap that up, send an email to an author. I can fix grammar and spelling mistakes in my books, and there's probably about 12 of them in Dawn Warrior, probably, I don't know, 20, 25 in the Lone Prospect. And at that point, I just don't care. And if you want a flawless book, go somewhere else, okay? It gives them character. Alright. So, just some things to think about if you are reviewing a book. What about what this book makes you rave, and what about what this book makes you rant? And that would make a good review. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves, my lovelies. Bless. I got a text to answer, so I'll see you in the next video.